Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday to you on this November 20th, 2025. I got all your stories for your rush hour ride home. Thanksgiving is around the corner, a week away, but I got all the fixins for you in this video. Blake Lively versus Baldoni content, an update from the Justice for Clayton community. We've got Epstein news, Zohran Mamdani, and a Department of Justice attorney who may get disbarred. There's a lot happening right now. We're going to dive in first to the Baldoni stuff. Colleen Hoover did an interview for Elle magazine, which is leaving Baldoni fans irate. I'll explain why, but a more interesting story for you guys. There is a content creator who alleged to have information that, if verified, would absolutely sink Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Other people have called out this content creator as not being credible, but then the weird thing happened. Their account got banned. Now they're back. I'm going to share that whole story, so stick around for that story. That's going to be the very end of this episode. We have a lot to get to, but that's the very end. First, we'll start off with Colleen Hoover and all that jazz. But yeah, it's funny that the title of this TikTok was "Why I Disappeared," and then the next day, account banned. I mean, it's a band with 147,000 people following it. So that's a lot of censorship. He's back. We'll share that in a few minutes. Now, here's an interesting story. I don't care what side of the political aisle you are on, although odds are you're on the side that wants the pursuit of justice, fighting for the middle class and things like that. Trump is set to meet with Mamdani tomorrow on Friday. Here's what he had to say. Communist mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, has asked for a meeting. We have agreed that this meeting will take place at the Oval Office on Friday, November 21st. Further details to follow. I have to say, that's going to be must watch. We saw his interaction with Zelensky, right? He berated Zelensky for not wearing a suit and tie, even though Ukraine's in the middle of a war. And then he defended the leader of Saudi Arabia, who was responding to questions about why they decided to assassinate a journalist, a U.S. Citizen, right? Is it a citizen? It lived in the U.S. And of course, he was hacked to pieces by a bone saw at the consulate in Istanbul. That is a fact. And Trump said, hey, why disrespect our guests? So we'll have to see if the mayor of New York City gets the same level of respect from Donald Trump that the assassin, or I shouldn't say, maybe I shouldn't call the leader of Saudi Arabia an assassin, although, sources say he hired the hit. But again, I don't need to, be a mark myself. We'll have to see if Zohran gets that special treatment. All right, that's coming tomorrow. Now, here's the story. Let's get into it. I had to lead with some politics. I know, you hate me. How Colleen Hoover took Hollywood, one of the most successful authors in publishing, and now a genuine movie mogul. She's as surprised by this as you are. So this was published today. It's a 17-minute read. I'll spare you a little bit of that. And there she is in the director chair. And listen, Baldoni fans, I think if I could summarize Baldoni fans, they would say they don't like Colleen Hoover because she turned her back on Baldoni when he needed a friend the most. She and Baldoni became friends when he bought the rights to her book from her. The movie made so much money, she probably felt bitter, but that's really her own fault. When you're a up-and-coming author, you sell your movie rights to someone. Or you could do, the Rocky route, what Sylvester Stallone did, which was decide not to sell your script, The Rocky, and instead, maintain some ownership. You're not going to make much money up front, but then you'll own all of the rights to the project, right? She doesn't own the rights. She sold it fair and square. She knew what she was signing. So just going to share a couple clips that have left the Baldoni crowd irate. The author says she finds the whole mess unfortunate. Okay, this talking about Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. She finds the whole mess unfortunate and disappointing. It feels like a circus, says Hoover, who, when we spoke, was preparing to give a deposition in a few weeks. When there are real people involved with real feelings and emotions, this actually truly has impacted some of the actors' careers in huge ways. Isn't Baldoni's career affected more than anybody? What is she talking about? Because I don't think she's referring to Baldoni here. And I just find it all around sad. She's leery of breathing more life into the controversy and chooses her words carefully. I'm just trying to stay removed from the negativity. I have my own story I could tell, but I don't want to bring attention to it. And I don't want to have to put someone else down to lift myself up. So I'd rather just ignore it and let people think and say what they're going to say. I feel like it's so big at this point that there's nothing anyone can say to change whatever opinion people have of it, even though no one has the actual truth, not even me. So she says, I don't even have the truth, and yet I could tell a story that would bring somebody else down. Like, this is where like maybe I'm too authentic, but I get so annoyed when people just don't tell you what they think about something. It's like you decided to unfollow Baldoni. You decided to, stick to the Blake Lively side of things. Own it. Just own it. You don't get to like change which direction you want to go when the wind blows. Just own it. If you believe Blake over Justin, be on that side. Now, my guess is she felt it was opportune to be on the side of Blake. Maybe she believed Blake. Maybe she just didn't do her vetting. Who the hell knows? But, if you no longer believe Blake, maybe you would switch sides. Or maybe, and I get it, maybe she's just saying, there's literally no winning here. I'm going to wait for this to play out, and then I'll let the chips fall where they may. Again, that's a political response. That's Hollywood. She says, It Ends With Us was inspired by her mother's story, and now it gives us PTSD to think about it. Let me tell you something. Colleen Hoover might have gotten off the best in this whole story. She's really, not a main character here. She's not facing any legal bills as far as I know. She sold the book and, whatever. It's over for her. The people that aren't working right now, the people that are not working are Justin Baldoni. Now, you might say, well, young Blake isn't working. Well, that's because she played young Blake. You're not Emma Stone. You played young Blake, But Brandon Sklenar, he's got shows up his ass. He's all over the place. Mostly, she just feels badly for her mom. So she says, I feel awful because I almost feel like she's gone through more with the aftermath of this film, more pain than she went through with my dad, just seeing the ugliness of it. It's tainted how Hoover feels about her most personal novel. I can't even recommend it anymore. I feel like the lawsuit has overshadowed it. I'm almost embarrassed to say I wrote it. When people ask what I do, I'm just like, I'm a writer. Please don't ask me what I wrote. She hopes one day after the trial concludes, she might feel differently. The more time that passes, the easier everything gets for all of us. But it is sad because I was very proud of that book, and I'm still proud of it, but less publicly so. Maybe I need therapy. I don't know. Well, yeah, I would say so. Excuse me. I mean, we all need therapy, right? Speaking of people that need therapy, how about this boomer, Bill Maher? He gives boomers a bad name. I know there's a lot of good boomers out there. And maybe Bill Maher is too old to be a boomer. Maybe he's a silent generator. I think he's a boomer. He got that good lead poisoning they talk about. So, but he's got a point here. Here he was interviewing Ian Rappaport. Michael Rappaport, excuse me. Gosh. And I don't know if he was talking about this because of Blake Lively or not, but Blake Lively, of course, wanted to be a key figure in the post-production of It Ends With Us, even though she was just an actress. They sent her dailies. She wanted to see how she was looking. This is like if you're working on a puzzle and someone's standing over your shoulder telling you which puzzle pieces to do next. That's what it's like if you're an actor trying to tell a director how to do their job. And yet this happens all the time. But either way, this is them discussing what happened on the set, which was Blake Lively flying too close to the sun.
The director does not want the actor in the editing room looking over their shoulder. That doesn't happen. I don't care who the fucking actor is.
And Quentin Tarantino doesn't need that. Woody Allen doesn't need that.
You just had, no, look.
Scorsese doesn't need that.
It's a director's medium. You either trust them or you don't. And when you sign on, you do.
Yeah.
That's their canvas.
Yes,
they're
100%.
They're gonna do it as they see fit. You have no say in it.
And top tier guys,
all you can do is hope
Yeah.
they use the take you think is the good take.
Yeah.
And they may not.
Yeah.
Or they may cut the whole scene.
Yeah.
Or they may keep it on. They may have you hear you and the camera's on the other actor.
Yeah.
You are throwing fortune to 100%.
the wind.
And I know a lot about this. I used to produce, direct, and edit my own like sketches and short films, and it might not seem like a big deal, but you do have to. They call it, and I hate to use this term, killing your babies. It's the idea that you have to cut out gold. You have to cut out things that might have been perfect in that moment, but they don't work in the overall cohesiveness of a script. And if you're Blake Lively, if you're an actor in general, you might just want the scene that doesn't make your nose look big. but that just might not be the scene that needs to be used or the clip that needs to be used. And so it's like if you're with a group of people and you take a group photo and everyone's like, oh no, my ass looks fat there. Oh, my moles, whatever, and then everyone's just arguing over it. And then you need a director to be like, this is the thing that works the best for everything. Now, with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, you kind of had that, right? You had Baldoni's edit and then you had Blake Lively's edit. Hers scored higher in a sexy way, which was not the tone of what they wanted. His scored higher with their core demographic, which was, women in their 20s to 40s or whatever it was. It's just a fascinating look at what goes on behind the scenes in a film, and that's why there's a hierarchy. Much like in the military, film has that hierarchy. They have the director, assistant director, second assistant, second assistant. You have this whole lineup, and then they all have to sort of listen to the producers, who's cutting the checks. And in Blake's case, while she wasn't a producer to start, she had enough equity that she could push people around for fear that she might, give them a bad mark on future projects. So interesting stuff. I've got more Blake. Like I said, at the end of the episode, stick around. At the end, I'm going to share the other story of the TikTok banning. It might be really interesting. It might be a nothing burger. But first, let's take a quick word from our sponsors. This episode of the Rush Hour is sponsored by Veracity. Welcome to an all-natural way to slim down, get energized, and sharpen your focus. Veracity is revolutionizing health by tackling the root cause of so many issues, metabolism. With Veracity's drug-free, clinically proven, and doctor-formulated solutions, you can support your body's need to live your healthiest life. If your goal is weight loss, you need to try Metabolism Ignite, a natural, safe, plant-based aid that results in an 85% reduction in hunger and is clinically proven to lose on average 9 pounds in 90 days. I started Metabolism Ignite a couple weeks ago in just 2 capsules with breakfast. I feel energized and focused all day. Veracity is a unique blend of lemon, verbena, and hibiscus extracts, green coffee bean extract, and magnesium. Veracity doesn't just offer a quick fix for weight gain. The products actually help you maintain a healthier lifestyle. So make the switch to GLP-1s the natural way. Head to veracityselfcare.com during their Black Friday sale for up to 50% off your order. Once again, that's veracityselfcare.com for 50% off. I've learned that how you sleep is just as important as how long you sleep, and Leesa really delivers on the how. Have I ever looked so well rested? My Reserve Hybrid mattress makes me feel like I'm staying at a 5-star resort. From night one, you'll feel the difference. Premium materials that deliver serious comfort and full body support no matter how you sleep. Leesa mattresses are meticulously designed and assembled in the USA for exceptional quality. Plus, they back it all up with free shipping, easy returns, and a 120-night sleep trial. Leesa has been tested and awarded Best Hybrid Mattress by New York Times Wirecutter and is exclusively featured on West Elm as their go-to mattress partner. Go to Leesa.com for the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, plus get an extra $50 off with promo code RUSHHOUR. Exclusive for my listeners. That's LEESA.com. Promo code RUSHHOUR for 30% off mattresses plus an extra $50 off. Support our show. Let them know we sent you after checkout. Leesa.com. Promo code RUSHHOUR. I wanted to touch up on this story. Justice for Clayton official, everybody involved in the Clayton Echard movement has done such incredible work. Real investigative journalism happening. They're looking into Laura Owens. Again, she's charged with 14 felonies. I'm a star witness. She faked multiple pregnancies, twin pregnancies. She faked cancers and a lot of other things. It'll be a documentary. You'll get it one day. But right now what's interesting is her family's filing for bankruptcy, which means they have to submit a lot of documents. And in combing through the documents, they're learning that Laura Owens' mother sued Laura Owens' uncle, which is Laura's mom's brother, was going to sue him for $590,000. I don't know if the lawsuit actually went through, but really sad. This was over their mother's estate, and boy, you got to get a good airtight will, because this is ugly. But what's really interesting is the brother was loaning them money, and now that they're in bankruptcy, there's a lot of questions as to whether the money the brother was giving the family was used as, all of the lawsuits they're a part of. No one really knows. But look at this. I mean, can you imagine writing this type of letter to your brother? If you fail to meet the following demands within the timeframes listed below, I will initiate criminal investigations, contact the New Mexico Attorney General, and pursue a full probate reopening to address these breaches. It's like, chill out with the legal talk, bro, or sis, But what's really interesting, so they're basically saying you got to pay me $590,000 within the next 30 days. It's incredible. And, they were fighting over properties and whatnot. But people wonder, is Jan's brother yet another victim of the family? Great work by the Justice for Clayton official page. Now, here's an email that Jan, Laura's mom, sent to her brother. Imagine sending this to your brother. This silence came at a time when you knew of my tremendous responsibilities and emotional strain. You knew that I was navigating hospice decisions for my husband, Ron, that my daughter, Sarah, was preparing to welcome a baby into the world, and that my other daughter, Laura, was recovering from a traumatic sexual assault and battling severe depression. In light of these burdens, I had expected your support, or at the very least, acknowledgement. Instead, you chose to withhold assets that could be provided comfort and stability. This is not mere neglect, and goes on. And apparently, they were trying to get this property sold. And he was saying, like, look, I'm gonna do the littlest I can to have this property sold. And the accusations that were made, really sad. I mean, it's sad to see the different levels of people that are affected. It's just crazy to think that how far and wide the damage, the collateral damage, and Could there be one of these cases where the Laura Owens family is the actual victim? Maybe, but like the boy who cried wolf has cried so long, so loud that you see, gosh, like we've all got that mom or someone in our family that will use like family guilt. Oh my gosh. So God bless this guy Naylor, the brother of Laura's mom. God bless him, and I hope he lives a happy life. But you can understand why other family members have stayed far and clear of this real cesspool happening there. So they're broke. They're filing for bankruptcy, and all of these skeletons are coming out of the closet. More to come. I mean, part of me wonders, is there something crazier we don't even know of yet? We already know, like, this is being bought and sold. If I could tell you who's in my DMs right now, there is a documentarian that works for a name talent that the whole world knows of, and they want this story. That's how crazy it is. The story will be told. Again, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, I've never been more confident that this will be at least a 6-part series, whether it comes Christmas of 2026 or, it's one of those things as it continues to unravel, it probably delays when this will happen. But I'm just here to tell you, if you feel like you don't understand the entire story, there will be teams of people that are putting together this timeline of possible fraud. Will Laura be able to watch it while she's in the prison system? I don't know. We'll have to see. How about this? We talk about the Epstein files, and they, I guess, have a 30-day countdown to release them now. And a lot of Democrats are asked, well, what are you going to do if there's Democrats in the Epstein files? And my response is, everybody who's done something illegal should pay the price. Like, why are we so worried about whether they're Democrat or Republican, right? Shouldn't we all as Americans want them to pay the price? Have a listen.
You mentioned the investigations into Democrats who had been named in the files that were released by the Epstein estate. One of the things the president did say, and again, he signed it overnight, no signing ceremony, no TV cameras, no nothing, but he did put out a Truth Social release where he noted that Democrats have been mentioned, again, in what has been released so far. What if there are more names connected to the Democratic Party that come out as a result of this?
So what? I mean, yeah, I'm sure that there are Democrats in those files. There are Republicans in those files. There are, Wall Street executives who have no political affiliation. What we want is to understand who was involved in this.
And by the way, this is so funny. Like Donald Trump Jr. was like, Epstein was a Democrat. All of the people he did business with was Democrats. At the time of Epstein's crimes, Donald Trump was a Democrat. People forget that he was a Democrat, and now I mean he's a registered Republican, I guess. But those tariff policies, that's not what the Republican Party believes in. They all kind of broke all of the things they believed in: free speech, small government, a due process. All that stuff's gone. That's out the window. The MAGA movement destroyed what the Republican Party ever believed to stand for. And, until someone takes office or controls that party, that's just the way it is. Prove me wrong. Are we doing small business? We're starting wars in the Caribbean Sea. We're blowing up fishing vessels. We're putting our own National Guard in different cities so that they can rake leaves. Do you know how much money all of that costs? None of it's coming back to us. So this idea that small government reduced the deficit, wrong. If you're in the files, you did something wrong, you're going to pay a price. Larry Summers of Harvard, a professor, is all over the files. He tried to come back to his job as a professor. He scaled back his public appearances, but he says, you know what, I'll just be a professor. And of course, one of the kids at Harvard a couple days ago took some video of Larry Summers opening his class. Have a listen.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein, and that I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching obligations.
So he goes, it's very important for me to fulfill my teaching obligations. Well, since then, he is now no longer fulfilling those teaching obligations. Listen, he was using his position of power in getting like hookup advice from Epstein on how he can bang his teacher's assistant or whatever it was, meanwhile cheating on his wife. And I'm sure most people, paying for their kids to go to school don't want their professors to be pieces of shit. Is what it comes down to. Do we care if it's a Democrat or a Republican? No, get them the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? And if half, if a percentage of the criminals that are in the Epstein files are Democrat or Republican, like I said, who the hell cares? Now, speaking of position of power, what we have with our president of the United States is using that position of power to go after his enemies. And now we're learning they are so brazen in those attempts, they may get disbarred. That's right. A full grand jury never reviewed the Comey indictment before they signed off on it. This whole case that he has against Comey, this whole big case where they're coming after you and it's so easy to get a grand indictment, it is hanging by a thread. This story coming next. The Rush Hour is sponsored by Masterclass. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become the best. What better gift this holiday season? I actually gifted Masterclass to a family member who was looking to add some levity to life. I gifted her Amy Poehler's class about applying the principles of improv to your life. With Masterclass, you get thousands of bite-sized lessons across 13 categories that can fit into even the busiest of schedules. With plans starting at $10 a month, billed annually, you get unlimited access to over 200 plus classes taught by the world's best business leaders, writers, chefs, and more. And there's no risk. Every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/rush hour for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/rush hour. Masterclass.com/rush hour. So Donald Trump's got this prosecutor who will do his dirty work. She's a 36-year-old. She went to University of Miami Law. Is that a good university? I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of tanning booth culture going on over there. A lot of cocaine, booger sugar. Hey, how did you pass the bar? A kilo of Coke, I'll tell you that much. Say hello to my little friend. Okay, you get the point. Either way, turns out she might not have been ethical in her process and may risk losing her law license.
And Judge Fitzpatrick said in his decision, something here doesn't add up. Either Ms. Halligan is mistaken as to the timing, or something went awry in the grand jury, because 7 minutes is not enough time to present an indictment all over again to a grand jury, meaning If they refuse the first indictment, you don't have enough time in 7 minutes to then present the second indictment, the one that was returned, the one that was charged against Comey, to everyone here. And today, based on Fallon's reporting, we now know the answer to that mystery, which was that the full grand jury never saw that indictment.
Oopsie. And by the way, they say you can indict a ham sandwich. It's like you don't even have to provide the best evidence. You just need to show a bunch of, American citizens, your peers, hey, here's what we got on James Comey. Okay, yeah, go get him. And then you start the whole trial, right? So they messed that part up. And now we have former legal advisor, Trump administrations, by the way, his former attorney, Ty Cobb, I know, beautiful name, beautiful mustache, saying, this is bad. This case is dead.
Case is going to be thrown out, and this is only one of the reasons. I mean, it's A, it's a vindictive prosecution. B, Halligan was not legally appointed. And C, the prosecutorial misconduct here is so severe that almost any judge would toss it, with the possible exception of Eileen Cannon in Florida. So I think this case is dead. There
it is. The case is dead. It was vindictive prosecution, mainly because Trump literally was tweeting, hey, go after these people or this person. He basically tweets like, oh, I think this person should be prosecuted. And then we're supposed to assume that they read the tweets and then they take that as an order. That's what happens. Well, again, here he's basically saying Pam Bondi and this prosecutor Halligan, this hot blonde 36-year-old, why is that important? Well, because Trump, he complains about DEI and woke culture, but he for sure loves to hire a bunch of young hot people. Again, whatever, you can be hot in a good attorney. I saw Legally Blonde, but in this case, maybe not so much.
Well, I do think that both Halligan and Bondi should be disbarred. Bondi has twice submitted affirmations to this court about the propriety of Lindsay Halligan's grand jury presentation. She knew this. There's no way she could not have known this.
Yeah, that's the whole point, right? Is that she's not an idiot. She's doing Trump's bidding. The one thing that shouldn't be disbarred is that mustache. Doesn't he look like that walrus guy? Who's that cartoon walrus? Either way, God bless Ty Cobb. Why Lindsay Halligan, Trump loyalist turned U.S. attorney, is in trouble. So there she is, looking like she's, heading to a Vogue cover shoot, a 2013 graduate of University of Miami Law School. And by the way, is that Miami, Ohio? I could have the wrong state. Either way, who cares? So she was just doing insurance law, no offense to insurance law. And then in November of 2021, she met President Trump at his golf club in Palm Beach, right? So at the time, she's only 31 years old. She was recruited to join Trump's legal team. In that role, she sued CNN on Trump's behalf, arguing that calling Trump's false claim that he won the 2020 presidential election the big lie was defamatory. Halligan was also part of the team defending Trump against charges of mishandling classified documents. And when Trump returned to the White House, Halligan joined his administration, taking on a variety of tasks, including leading the effort to purge woke ideology from the Smithsonian. Yeah, that's right. They literally Google woke terms and then cancel it. We saw this happen in, I believe, a Florida library where there was an author whose last name was Gay, G-A-Y, and they kicked those books out because they thought it was woke. And it was like, no, that's just my last name. My last name's Gay. You can't, it's like, God forbid. Yeah, whatever. So it's just like hot water. Welcome to the show, Lindsay Halligan. Whatever, you're in it, you're prepared for the party. So that's wild stuff. I promised you guys at the end of this episode I would cover this Baldoni story, and we're here to do it. So there's this account, Marco's Bits. His main account was Be Better. And, he's like a TikTok journalist. Take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Broken clocks right twice a day. Some things he gets right, some things woefully wrong. That's TikTok culture. It's up to audiences to have critical thinking and trust your sources or don't. But either way, he got banned for this video, which is now back up. It just came back up. The video explains why he went away for a while. I'll play the first 10 seconds.
Hi. Okay, so I specifically made this spam account so that I could share some information with you guys that could hopefully exist in the safety of this account not having a lot of followers, so I can avoid reaching the volume of people that a video from my main page would normally reach.
What?
And you'll understand why by the end of this video it would be problematic for that many people to interject on this information and this story at this point in time. So there is a rumor going around about me that I stopped talking about the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively saga because I was secretly paid off by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I wish. I'm still waiting for all the secret money that I'm being paid to hit my bank account. That is yet to happen. But the reason I wanted to make this video is to explain some context as to why I did actually stop talking about it. So for those of you that don't know, my other account is Be Better, and I sort of became known as one of the central content creators, I guess you could say, of the people who are covering the case.
So he goes on and on. Now, I'm here to tell you, I'll save you 9 minutes. He doesn't give any actual information about what he has, but he says, I've got something that, if it's true, is so big and so explosive, it could ruin Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. He doesn't say what that is, but he says, who do I go to? And then the comment section is like, Candace Owens. And then other people are like, no, you need real mainstream journalists who will do the proper vetting. And again, what he ends up doing with that, who knows? But, you know, he creates this account to ask for advice and immediately goes viral. I mean, this is what's crazy, right? My TikTok, what are we? We're stuck at 33,000 or so. It says 0 followers. Trust me, there's 33,000 or something like that. So you can go follow me over there. And this guy, this jabroni, no offense to my Italian friends out there, this jabroni comes in and he just creates an account 3 days ago and it gets 150,000 followers, growing like wildfire, and it gets banned. Like I said, I'm not making this up. It was banned, but now it's back. So there's this idea. It's like the Streisand effect, right? It's like, why did they ban him? He must have disputed it and it's back up. So we'll have to see if he actually presents that evidence, because like I've said before, I don't necessarily trust him, no offense, but I have a very short list of people I trust that when they tell me something, I'm like, whoa, it's people like Ryan Grimm. If they report on a story, I know it's been meticulously fact-checked. You know, this morning we covered Candace Owens. I'm sharing the conspiracies that she has, but I'm still waiting for it all to play out because I don't put my trust in someone when I haven't seen the math and understand how that works myself. So let me know what you guys think about that. It was a lot to cover on today's episode, but by the way, tomorrow we'll be doing a 2 p.m. Central Standard Time YouTube membership only live stream for those looking to grow your social media. Essentially what we do is I'll find different accounts that are thriving. I'll break down what's making them successful. There's a lot of people going into the new year that are looking to grow their channels. So you can join that community and be a part of that live stream where I audit your channel and we give some advice on what you can do to thrive. All right, well, that's it for me. We'll be back in the morning. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.